In a society overshadowed by martyrdom, it's hard not to get sucked into it, especially when there's not much else to do. Next day, another display, this time armed civilians. They're about to swear an oath of allegiance to the country. This is just today's group. Every day they have a different group here for training. It's usually about 500 people in total. The civilians aren't paid for their services. In a culture of sacrifice, playing your part is seen as good citizenship. Show me, how do you use the stick? Show me what you do with this. These women are housewives and students. During the training, there isn't a rifle to go around for everyone, so they're given this stick it's a pretend AK-47. If there's a war, are you prepared to fight? Don't be fooled by the smiles. In Sri Lanka, a wiggle of the head means yes. The Tigers claim over 100 Tamils have been killed since December. They promote their cause by drawing attention to new atrocities allegedly committed by the Sri Lankan military. They told us of the horrific rape of a Tamil girl. Pushparani's daughter was murdered in December. Darshini, a dressmaker, had said goodbye and set off to work. She never arrived. Her body had simply been dumped. Darshini had been gang raped and strangled. Her mum told me stones had been tied to Darshini's body and she was stuffed down this well. The family are convinced she was killed by sailors from the nearby government base. What evidence did you find that showed it was the Navy that had killed Darshini?
Key tag was found on the way and naval cap is somewhere here.
Further back there where they believe Darshini was grabbed, they found a Navy-issue keyring. There were boot marks around the well that looked like they were made by military boots. And over there, they found a naval cap in the bushes. Earlier that day, they had seen naval officers in the woods. The police say they're investigating the murder. But Pushparani is so terrified she sent her granddaughter, Xena, away to be protected by the Tigers. The Tigers were prepared to give us the address of her safe house. Xena is 15. She showed us a picture of her late Aunt Darshini, who was also her best friend. She said Darshini's face was swollen and she had welts and cuts all over her body from where the stones had been tied to her. She had been stabbed in the chest. She said she didn't look like her auntie at all. She was unrecognisable apart from the clothes which she was wearing, which had been ripped. Xena was sent here from her village because her family was afraid she could be the next rape victim. I asked her, when are you going home? And she said, never again. Along the borders, there are numerous cases of violent deaths under mysterious circumstances. The Tigers claim paramilitary death squads are targeting influential Tamils. We went to the scene of a massacre where an actress and her family had been the targets. I feel very uneasy being in this house, knowing that only a month ago it must have been covered in blood. There were bodies lying all over the place. And the father just got out of hospital yesterday, so it's really hard to imagine what he's going through coming back home for the first time to a house without his wife and without his daughters. A masked man had knocked on the door after midnight. Nahindra had been caught in the crossfire. His wife and 2 daughters were targeted and shot.
Immediately the person shot my second daughter.
He shot her?
Oh, yes. My second daughter's head and the backside. So, elder daughter is coming. Immediately shot in the chest and 3 shots in the stomach. So she also fall down. Then they said, okay, we are leaving.
Nahindra claimed the attack was carried out by 9 men in balaclavas. He wonders how a gang of gunmen could drive through the neighbourhood to his home without being challenged by the Sri Lankan army. Do you think they were paramilitaries who came to the house and shot your family?
In our area, that 4 camps are there. So that they come with a vehicle, with a fully armed AK-47, T-56 and pistol.
Whether Nahindra's wife and daughters were killed by army paramilitaries or Tiger agents provocateurs is not clear. But it's atrocities like these that keep the shadow war going. The Tamil Tigers have few difficulties finding new volunteers to join their ranks. But international organisations have accused the Tigers of recruiting people by force, especially children. Our Tiger Minders took us to a children's home in Kilinochchi. They were keen to prove that children were willing volunteers and lied about their ages. Who was 12 when they joined? Hands up for who was 12. 13? She said when she was on the Tamil Tiger base, she didn't help the soldiers there. They helped her. And it's only since she's come to this place that she's been able to educate herself and improve herself. Many of these girls lost parents in the war. Everyone is telling us they joined the Tigers of their own volition, of their own choice, but the Human Rights Agency's reports suggest that a lot of kids were abducted by the Tamil Tigers when they were as young as 11 or 12 and forced to train as soldiers. And nobody here is saying that to us, but I wonder if that's because we've come with someone from the Tamil Tigers. This is a really sensitive issue. Our minders wanted to show us that the girls were being well looked after and taught new skills for a future civilian life. Yeah, we have to do that, I suppose. Okay. Good evening. But when we met the boys, it was clear they were tigers in the making. If there's another war, it'll be very dangerous and you might die. But is there anyone here who would still fight for the homeland? Can you put up your hand, those people who would die for the cause, who would become a martyr for the cause? That's everybody in the room has said that if it came to it, in another war, they'd prepare to become a martyr, to die for the cause. These are just teenage boys. But death in Tigerland is not a game. We travelled to a female army barracks. These freedom birds, as the Tigers call them, are all about 20 years old. They live and sleep among constant reminders of death. They showed me to a bizarre hall of fame, a shrine to dead Tamil Tigers. The fighters in dark uniform are black tigers, soldiers selected for suicide missions. That's the first woman's suicide, black tiger. She was a sea tiger, but she says she can't remember when she died and she doesn't know the details. Would you like to be a black tiger? Yes? It was hard to tell from her smile if she was serious about martyrdom. But we were soon shown just how committed the Tigers really are. You open it and just